Hello, this is Max Strike. This gentleman here, Joe Glines, he does a whole load of video. He's really into AutoHotKey for automating things on Windows computers and stuff like that. And he sends out a newsletter. Anyway, he sent out this newsletter and he highlighted he highlighted other people's use of their hotkeys, of AutoHotKey. So I went on to that article through there, and this was 4 jobs. I never do manually anymore, thanks for one automation tool or whatever. And he has a one key press work setup, so when he presses the hotkeys, it opens up several browser pages and things like that, or Word websites and things. It'll open up Word, it'll open up Excel, it'll do whatever he does. So it's just a setup, very easy to do. And he shows the scripts for doing this. One thing I want to note here, this is all written in AutoHotKey version 2, which is the current version. All of my scripts are in version 1 because generally I do everything. I've got a whole load of them from version 1, and then I moved on to Python. So I don't use AutoHotKeys that much, but if I do find a useful productivity tool, I'll take it, and then I actually get them to convert from version 2 to version 1 just because it's handier for me. So he's got the second one, downloads. When things come into downloads, it can sort them out into different folders. So all your Word don't go in one folder. I've got a similar thing for images myself. And then you've got something for temporary file cleanup, but I don't bother with that. But the one that I thought was seriously cool was instant search from any highlighted text. So you highlight a bit of text and then you say, go and search in this particular option. Now I've got one, whereas if I've actually got something highlighted, or I've got instant search, we'll just put in there. And then I've got one which up the top here, which is a bookmarklet. So it's JavaScript, and it will go and open up DuckDuckGo and show that instant search. So that's what it's gone and done. I've also got one for maps, and there was another couple of ones. That's the ones I've got. But I thought this was such a great idea. So when you're in the middle of something, you want to go and look it up from somewhere, you can choose where you want to go and look that up from. So I ended up doing something shortcut replaces copy, we'll say. So now I can actually go into here and go search, and these are all of my options. So I can go into DuckDuckGo, Wikipedia, Google Maps, YouTube, DeepSeek, or Perplexity. So I find that Google Maps, I've been reading an article and it talk about a county or something like that, or a town, and I want to find out where that place is. So it's good just to have Google Maps, just go and look those things up right away. So on this one here, I could look it up in YouTube, or I could look it up in Wikipedia and just see what Wikipedia comes up. Doesn't really have one because it just comes up as keyboard shortcuts. But you can choose how you wish to do that. Now because this AutoHotKey, if I come into somewhere like here and I highlight Spain, it'll work. So I can actually go into search, I can go Google Maps, it'll open up Google Maps, and then it'll look up Spain for me, and it's found me Spain. Hooray. So this will work in browsers, it'll work in Word, Excel, all of those sorts of things. So it's a wonderful thing, and you get a selection of where you want to go and look that thing up. The one thing which I do have with this one is that after I highlight it, if I go and look in search and I go to something like an AI, I don't want to paste it in straight away and press enter. I most probably want to write a prompt around it. So if I just go, it's still in my pasteboard there, Bob. So I could actually write, how do I do a shortcut that replaces copy. So that, and then I'd actually do the prompt. So that's just one of the ones in the things that I don't actually just want to fire in and start the blooming thing up, because I want to shape how I do it. So that's one thing to do. The other one I just wanted to draw your attention to is I did a video on, I did a pop-up menu. Now what I ended up happening is I ended up with a sore left-hand shoulder. And so whenever I was doing hotkeys with my left hand, it was actually causing it a lot more pain. So I ended up doing this pop-up menu. And this was my first start at it. And this is one of the later iterations that I've got. So anytime I've got something handy, I can just put them up here. So a lot of screenshots, and the taskbar 1 takes you back to whatever the taskbar 1 was. So if I go onto there, so it's jumped back to whatever it was, which is taskbar 2. But if I go into taskbar 1, it takes me to taskbar 1. So whatever is on the taskbar 1. So if I were to go to taskbar 2, there's one down here, taskbar 2. But because I've got two options of that, whether it's my email or whether it's my reminder, I've got to choose which one's there. But if I wanted something like my browser, I can actually just put that into the second position. So I go into taskbar 1, then I can jump into taskbar 2, and the taskbar, oh, now that's got several options, so that's popping me through. So it's sort of, both those examples did work very well. But it's easy to sort of activate. So there's a few that I find quite good, and I actually find this tool very good. Now, one of the things with this tool, and I just want to bring it up here, I'm actually using a gaming mouse. So they're not that much more expensive than a normal mouse, but you can actually put a few macros in them and stuff. So I actually use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buttons most of the time, and they do it for me. I did try a 20 button one, but it was just you're too busy moving your hand all the way around. These ones are very easy to reach and not particularly complicated, so they're good to use. I did, if I'm in something like this, I've got another program which is this one here, is the middle press of the scroll bar. So if I press the scroll bar 3, this is what pops up. So this is quick access pop-up, and I find it's brilliant for navigating around all my different folders and things like that. So I can be in this folder, and then suddenly I can say, well, I want a shortcut to this one here, incoming. So I can click on there, and I can actually say add active folder to my thing called incoming. I can add it, and then the next time I do it, I can actually just go, and this one I'll just use this as an example and go to screenshots, and it just shoots me across to another subfolder. So it's great if I'm working in a project and I've got standards, I've got models, I've got documents and things like that, codes, I've got plots and things to do. It just jumps between them all. You don't have to remember and go and navigate through File Explorer to find out where the other files are. So that I find brilliant. So I've always got that one on number 3. As a push down one, but you could most probably get it so that you activated this one, this pop-up menu onto something else. So just be aware that, you know, you may not need a gaming mouse. I've just got a gaming mouse, and so I don't really think about it anymore. So that's the second thing that I wanted to talk about. The third thing I wanted to talk about was a bit of JavaScript that I've got. So I'm just going to go and pop into here, and we're going to go BBC. And inside here, what I found, I had this one called highlight. So we'll just highlight the word there, and if I go highlight, it highlights that word wherever it is in the article. Now, if I suddenly want a different one, and if I click on that highlight again, it will highlight the next thing in a different color. If I then highlight another one and actually go through and do the highlight, it'll highlight it a third color. So it's quite good if I'm doing an article and I missed a point, or I'm trying to, as I was reading through, I sort of missed the point, I need to kind of go through and clarify. I can use certain terms to go through and clarify those things. So this is a bookmarklet, so it only works in browsers, and basically it's a JavaScript injection similar to bionic reading, where it highlights a couple of the letters in bold, so that your eye sort of reads over the boldness and your brain sort of picks up what the rest of the context is. So that's another injection into there. So if I just refresh that web page, it all disappears, all of it, because all it is just highlighting things after your web page is rendered from the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript that's gone into it. And so we can then inject an extra bit along the top of that. So this one, that was one of the things that I wanted to do. Is the first time when I had this highlighter, when I did the highlighting before, it was seriously bold yellow, like a serious highlighter thing. The problem is that the text underneath sort of disappeared into white. And so I said, okay, then, can you, Mr. AI, can you rewrite that JavaScript bookmarklet? But I want more pastel colors. And then also, if I highlight the first time, it's to be one color. And if I highlight something else again on the same page, it'll give it a second color. So on this one here, if I just highlight had and go that one and highlight, it'll do a green. The next one is a blue. And I think there's 7 iterations that you can do, but generally I just use the first 2 or 3. So that was one of the challenges. The second one was, as a sort of all the time that I've been drawing, so we're just going to use Iran as the next one. One of the things I don't like doing, like here, if I had to activate this, I've got to go up to my ribbon, click on that, then I cannot not click on it again, and then come down and click on it again. So why I don't like that, because I've had my mouse here, then I go up to here, that distracts me, and then I come back down to do something else. And so I've always liked to be able to keep my mouse hovering where I wanted it to be. So here I can just right click on my pop-up menu and go highlight through there, and it does it. So I ended up trying to find a way of doing a hotkey to do that. So the first thing I did was I looked on Add-on Manager, and I came across this one called Shortkeys, which actually allows you to do some JavaScript and put it underneath a shortcut key, which I could then add to my menu. But when I actually tried to get this to run, it has this appears to be corrupt, so I couldn't get it to run at all. So it most probably runs on earlier versions of Firefox, but it doesn't run on this one. So I found another one which was done by this Ruel van der Paar, who wanders around with his mobile phone, and he asks this question. So he asked the question, he said the question, and this particular question is, I'd like to set up shortcuts for several Firefox bookmarks, and he said actually they're bookmarklets. So he's saying that was one, and then he said, well, there's 6 solutions. These are, and then people write in or something and give solutions. And this particular one suddenly said, well, create your bookmarklet menu. So he's got a menu where it drops down through here, and then he used AutoHotKey to actually fire those ones up, so it goes through the steps of doing it. I thought actually that's a really nice solution. So on mine, I ended up going into here. So if we just go Tuesday for that, and then I can go Control B, which brings up my bookmarklet, and then I can go X. So that brings up any bookmark that I've got with X in it. Then if I go to the second X, I've still got ones which have got 2 lots of X in them. So if I go for a third one to the Z, then I end up finding a unique, the one that I want, which is this one here. Then if I go Tab, this identifies and shows that I've selected that first one, or it's highlighted, but it isn't selected. If I go Enter, nothing happens. But I found that if you do the up arrow, it actually selects it. Then I can go Enter, I can choose the phrase, and then I can go OK. And then it highlights it, and then if I go Control B, it does it again. So it's a little bit more repetitive, and actually see when it's actually run. When I do that again, like we got reported through there, and I do it, you can sort of see each step going along and doing it through there. So it's a little bit, I think I've got a 200 or 300 millisecond pause between each of the keystroke things that it's doing, just to make sure that it doesn't speed itself up too much. But it seems to work, and so that was fine. So I found that was a solution that I could actually use on that. So the 3 things that I wanted to bring up was, one, the search and having multiple options, because this is totally in AutoHotKey. It'll work in any program on your computer as such. The second one was the menu has been modified, so I'll leave a link where you can actually download this from. And the third one is the JavaScript applet, which I'll actually I'll paste that JavaScript, which is basically, if you've got a bookmarklet, you find instead of the URL, you paste your JavaScript applet bookmarklet into it. And it's basically, it might be 20 lines of JavaScript, but you just concatenate them together and put them into one string, then it works fine. So I hope you found that of use. If you have, please give a thumbs up. If not, Panya. Thank you very much for watching.